We're halfway through 2025, so that means a lot has happened in the world of AI, Notion, MCPs. And if you're anything like me, you get stuck in this rut of like information paralysis. So in this video today, I'm going to give you a quick step-by-step guide of exactly how to use the customized layout feature in Notion, along with a couple features that you probably are not aware of. And if you stick around to the end of the video, you'll know how to get your layouts looking like this, along with my personal favorite ways to set up these layouts. If this is your first time here, welcome. I build powerful Notion systems designed to simplify your everyday life and streamline your business workflows. So let's dive in. All right, so with all the information out there and the information paralysis, I'm here to give you a quick guide on exactly what is a customized layout, why we would build them, reverse engineering a current setup so you can see it in real time, and then rebuilding it so you can really understand the full, breakdown of what's going on. So when dealing with a custom layout, the first thing we're going to look into is what exactly is a customized layout, right? So basically, in the easiest to understand terms, it would be a way to customize the database backend, mainly for personal use. So like why we would use them would be for page structure, personalized setups, ways to store your properties. You can section stuff off with, different toggles, sections, dividers, headings, stuff like that. But that doesn't give you a real good understanding of exactly what it is. So if we go ahead and take a look at the example that we're already on, you can see that we're inside of the task database, and we kind of have a nice little, page structure going on from, the due date formula to the done button, a little main section here that can be collapsed, but also, a little relationship thing down here that you might not know, how it got there. So with that being said, we're going to hop into the actual customized layout backend itself. And if you're unfamiliar, you can either access it from up here above the title where it says customize layout, or you can click the three dots in the top right and hit customize layout from right here. So if I go ahead and hop in, you'll see that, a lot kind of happens right away. So I'm going to give you guys a moment to pause the video, kind of just take a look at exactly what's going on in this page from, the projects, content. I'll click around to a couple different things so you can see, what's going on from this property to the heading and stuff like that. And then I'm going to be back with this database completely rearranged so that it's like I never touched it to begin with. All right, so now we're back in HelpDesk OS. I'm going to scroll down to the reverse building part because this is where we're at now. And as you can see, we have this little ugly mess of properties just looking at us in the face. So, we have the comments back, nothing at the top. So we're going to head on over into the customized layout section. We're going to start doing some damage, right? So if I can remember, we want this due date label to say due today to be, in this heading section. So in order to access that, we're going to click on the heading section, scroll over here to the right. We're going to find the due date label. We're just going to pin that to the top, right? And as you can see, it says due today, and it also says, the due date label with like the Sigma sign. And we're going to want to get rid of the label part. So in order to do that, you're going to come over to property labels down here, and we're just going to, take that off. So now you have a nice clean formula that's not like interrupted from like the view because of that, property label above it. So that's how you would go about adding stuff to the pin properties. Now, if we make our way down to the property group, I'm first going to go over here and just delete this section so it's just like it's brand new. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and get rid of this comments section down at the bottom. And if we take a look on the right side, you can see this page discussions is set to expanded. We're going to go ahead and turn that off. So as you can see, we lose those comments section. That's going to make the visual design of everything accessing the properties and any like nested databases or linked views underneath the properties later on in the future. So just go ahead, get rid of that now and save yourself some time, finding it and moving forward. So after that, we have a couple of options. We can either keep our properties in the property group right here. We can section them off into, sections utilizing this button right here, drag and drop properties. as you can see, they now separate in different, views. That is helpful when, you have, say, personalized information at the top. So maybe like name, phone number, email, and then you have a section that tracks maybe projects, money, financials, anything along those lines. And then the third option is going to be this side add to panel section. And in order to access that from, the page view, you're going to, well, we actually don't have any right now. So that's actually a perfect time to go and click add to panel, click more. We're going to take our files and media, apply that, go back to the page. And now you see that this view details section has popped up right here. This can also be accessed from these three little buttons. I'm just programmed to go to the top right, so this is how I normally get there. But if we go back into customized layout, you can now see that the files and media is no longer underneath or in the property section. And if I were to drag this into, but underneath the property group, you can now see that just at first glance, the files and media being in this section just kind of throws off the view, makes it look like unesthetically pleasing. So I just like to toss that in the top right here. I also feel like after I apply the page, when I go into the view details, seeing that at the very top is kind of nice, just the way that, it is sitting right there. So we'll go ahead and check the reverse building off. You'll see that this status should change to completed because I do have automations built into this free template. Now we'll head over to the rebuild phase. So when I go back into the customized layout, you'll see that, this is what we're currently dealing with. So at first glance, I'm thinking that I want to take the done property, that's the button, and I want to add that above the property group, but into its own section, right? So in order to do that, you're going to hit the plus down at the bottom. You can either hit more and expand it. I like to type in what I'm looking for just because I'm used to having a ton of properties on the side, and it just kind of streamlines the whole process of, finding them easier. So if I put, done over there, I look at this group right here, I'll say that maybe check doesn't fit very well into this group right here. Then we'll go ahead and apply that to the pages. So now you can see that anytime we click into, one of our tasks, this is the setup that we're going to be looking for. We're going to have, whatever the formula is telling us at the very top. If I click done, that's going to go to completed. I'm just going to undo that real quick so we don't have that done. We have our deadline, our type, priority, timing, and then we do have this new section that we can collapse down here. But that's not exactly how we want to look at the relation properties, right? So if I come back into the customized layout, we're actually going to click into the property group so that we can pull up this section over on the right. And we're going to go ahead and delete that section. What that does is it brings this project's relation back into the main property group called new section. We can go ahead and rename that main just so we have better understanding of what exactly it's for. And we can see that now if we take projects just like we did with the done button and we throw them down at the bottom, we now have the ability to add them to an advanced relations group. So this is personally something that I didn't utilize for a very long time when, starting with Notion and whenever this feature came out. So now when we click convert to relations, you'll see that nothing really changes, but we now have this relations group over here on the right side. So if I click apply to all pages, you'll see that down at the bottom of the page. And the more relations we have, the more that they'll stack going, horizontally instead of vertically, making, the bottom of your page have a really nice structure, kind of cutting off the properties, but at the same time, it opens up, a lot of space in the high details and in the property group here because it's got a nice little section down at the bottom. So now you might be thinking, okay, it's looking a lot better. But wait, we can do much better than this because we're not just looking at our task list now. If we take a step back to, the current setup on the dashboard, we also want to be able to see our current project inside of our current task and vice versa. So if I go inside of my projects database right now, you'll see that it looks a little bit different than our task, but not entirely. So at first glance, instead of the due date at the top, we have a couple status and type properties. But also underneath that, we have a new, tabbed view, the task list database. So if I go ahead and click on that, you'll see that we have all 5 of our tasks from right here sitting inside of our projects database, one click to the right. So if I want to duplicate that into the task list, all I'm going to do is go back to the customize layout section. I'm going to click in this area right here so that we get this option to click to a tabbed view. And all I'm going to do is click this plus next to where it says content. I'm going to link it to our already linked up projects database. And if you don't have a database that's currently linked, you can just go ahead and, link an existing one. But, we already have the projects linked up. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And as you can see immediately, because this property already has, a two-way relation and it's connected, that when I hit apply, you can see that the customized layout video is already, in the tabbed view within the task list database. So if you want to see this in action real quick, we will click on the rebuild task. We'll go ahead and we'll see that we have a nice little setup right here. We have our files and media and our check in the view details up in the right. Also, once again, you can access that through the 3 dots right next to the pinned properties. We'll go ahead and click done. We'll watch our button automation work in real time. Well, we also see that the check does not work, so you'll get a real-time button little tutorial. So we're going to check that. So that basically says that when we click the done button, that this is now also going to check. The status is going to check. Everything is, ready to go. So, that's how I like to build my, custom layouts from, the high details view to, the main setup. You'll soon start to realize that, when you click on a project, being able to just, quick toggle between, your content and, the actual task list database is just absolutely huge, because you can set it up in different ways from, a little table view like this to my personal favorite, which would be a list view. And then if we go into the property visibility, you can just kind of decide what you want from done to deadlines. We'll go with custom out of there, priority project, check, let done for looks. You guys get the point of that. So you can do a lot with the customization, really make it exactly how you like it. A good way to view the projects, in my opinion, is in a gallery view. So if I go to layout and gallery, you can then show that, as search, no page content, start adding properties into it. So we'll get rid of budget, keep the date, but get rid of remaining days. Remaining days started. We'll definitely get rid of the task list because that can stack up. Maybe put content creation at the top, project timeline. So, something like this. But you guys get the point. So you guys can really customize it, whatever way you want. If you have, percentages and stuff like that, those always, flow in very nicely as well. I also have been slightly updating the HelpDesk OS in my free time just to streamline it a little bit for, anyone who has downloaded it or wants to download it at the current state that it's at. This template is going to be something that I'm going to be building with you guys, throughout the life of my channel. We're going to be building it from, the ground up, from, the last 2 videos, this video, and really piecing together a everyday template that you guys can, drag and drop into your system immediately and get going with that. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I wanted to keep it quick and to the point so you guys can get back to building your perfect dashboards. If you're interested in recreating this setup or diving deeper into Notion databases, just shoot me a message over on Instagram. I'll make sure to get back to you. If you made it this far into the video, go check out this video I'm going to put right here on how to vibe code with Notion. It's how I originally got this setup started, and I'll see you there.